pretty much all Quickjacks, TL 5000, TLX 5000, 7000, whatever the models. If it's this style with the two separate posts on a pump, usually on 110, happens. A lot of forums have been asking about this. No one seems to have an answer. I spent hours with Quickjack trying to figure out what was wrong. Took apart the drop valve there, along with the drop solenoid there. There's not many videos that tell us exactly where these things are. So the bottom one there, either way, with it plugged in, you push down, it should light up which one it is. That way you know that's your down. In this case, it wasn't my issue. It would go up and down, no problem with weight. But the minute it would not touch the cars anymore, it would not go down, it would just block there. I would have to put my foot on them, push hard on each side in order to be able to get my lift down. There's 4 spots on these Quickjacks. Those are to lubricate the pivot points. There's another one under there you don't see. I put on custom plates so that I can extend my reach a little bit. There are 4 spots on each lift, which a lot of people tend to ignore. I put in automatic transmission fluid in these shafts to try and remove whatever rust was there, and blew it in with compressed air and a rubber tip to be able to force it in as much as possible. I would say about half of them, you would see the ATF come out of these pivot points here. Same thing down here. You would see the grease oil coming out of these joints where the pipe slides in through the other side. The same thing on the other side. And what was happening is I would have about half of them where there was nothing coming out. You see, like this one looks like it's almost bone dry even after soaking the hell out of it with ATF and air. But if I come see this one, we see the grease spewing out of the joint. Same thing on the other side. So that means this one was not seized. But the other ones that are dry were. So what I did is I took apart the cylinder, just the top end, make sure you're unloaded completely, no pressure, so that your cylinder doesn't come flying out or anything of the sort. You pull out, that's a 19mm on both sides. You pull off one, you pull the pin out all the way. Chances are that's going to be seized up too if you never took this apart and greased it, because there's no grease on any of these fittings. So take that apart, just deposit your cylinder on the floor, nice and slow. If you can't grab the bars, put a foot here. If you can't grab and pick up the rack, the top section of the rack, just the top, not the bottom part, if you can't pivot this up, your pivots are seized. So forget about ever trying to get it down under its own weight. It'll never be able to go down because, well, it's seized in rust. More common in the rust belt than in other areas, but it's a design flaw, I find, because they put the grease points directly up on top, where all the water and the salt and all the other fun stuff can just seep its way in. Not to mention the 2 lower points that touch the floor are always on the floor. So the minute you have humidity or water, they go in, because this is hollow all the way through. It's just a pipe, nothing special, nothing reinforced, not even a solid rod. It's just a cheap pipe as a pivot point. So that absorbs everything and it rots out your pivots, thus causing it unable to come down on its own weight. I spent a few hours soaking these and making them work up and down constant. Now it finally it's starting to get there. I can lift it up, and if I push down, see, it goes down nice and slow. One side comes down a little faster than the other. I had less trouble unjamming the left side than I did the right. That's why I put that little rod in the middle to help kind of push it down together during this trial.
So yeah, check your lift pivots. They're probably seized if you never grease these up. And even if you do regularly grease them, depending on where you live, you might have to do it almost every week. That's what I should have done instead of every 2-3 months. Now I know.